Hey guys, I'm Rogan, and this is my rant. We believe in the diversity of thought here on this channel. These are ideas worth sharing. It's not meant to be concrete advice. Always remember to take what you hear online with a grain of salt and do what works best for you. All right, so haven't been here in a while. Been dealing with a lot of family things and personal things, but I wanted to hop on and make a video because I had a really good idea and this stuff was really pissing me off, so I have to make a rant about it. And this is not going to be like a super duper unscripted rant. I have notes in front of me, but yeah, that's what I want to talk about. Some finance myths, or you can call this bad financial advice, or 9 bogus things you hear online about finance, and why I disagree with it, and why you should come to your own conclusions. Like if you agree with 5 out of these 9 things, or two, or all of them, that's completely up to you. So I just wanted to share some of the experience. Like I have some experience in finance, so I wanted to share that with you guys. So yeah, if you like content like this, hit that like button, and if you don't like it, remember to smash that dislike. Gives me a chance to improve and make better content, so I appreciate it. I'd love to hear what you have to say in the comment section down below. And make sure you subscribe. It's free, and that notification bell. It might work, it might not. All right, so getting into it. So what is the first um, advice you hear from gurus online? Like they say, oh, never use a credit card. Okay, so now why would they say never use a credit card? They're probably just giving people advice to people who are complete in debt, tens of thousands of dollars over across 3, 4, 5, 10 credit cards. They don't know how they work. They just pay the minimum. They buy things they don't need. They don't use a credit card for needs mostly. They use it more for wants than needs, and then they just get themselves into debt. Maybe that's why they're saying never use a credit card. But there are other ways to build credit. I will preface this point. You know, you can get these debit cards that give you cash back, or you can do different things that build your credit. But credit cards are a good way to first of all build credit, and then let's just say you spend $1,000 a month on needs like groceries. Maybe you go out to a restaurant twice a month. Let's just say twice a month. You go to the pharmacy and get your prescriptions, and then you get toiletries, like your deodorants, your toilet paper, your paper towels, like things you actually need, not like a Best Buy trip, or not a expensive furniture that you don't need to replace. I'm talking about things that you actually need. Like think about water, stuff like that. If you spend $1,000 a month, yeah, if you're only getting a percent and a half, that kind of sucks. But if you can find a good credit card that gives you 3% on certain categories, you know, you'll get paid to buy things you were gonna buy anyway. And they make the argument where they're like, oh, okay, well, I mean, if you have a credit card, you're incentivized to spend more because you're not feeling the cash leave your hand, and they credit cards, they make you spend more than what you originally intended. But that's if you're not strong-willed. Like if you're not a complete moron, that's not going to happen to you. Okay, so myth busted. Never use a credit card. You use it wisely, use it constructively. Next point: always buy a car in cash. Depends sometimes. The low interest rate can be compared to the stock market return rate, and sometimes you're better off having a tiny car payment or not at all. It depends on the person, right? Because you're like, some people will tell you, oh, well, put a lot more down on the car and have a smaller monthly payment, and like if you can get a lower interest rate than maybe 6%, you can get a 3% rate, and then put the rest in the market and have that money build for you. That's smart. But for some people, they're just so terrible with their money, they spread their car loan over 72, 84 months because they're morons, and then they pay they're just paying so much interest. It's stupid. Me personally, I've bought all my cars in my life in cash, and that's how it's gonna stay. I refuse to pay a car payment. I refuse to have another monthly expense where I'm just like, oh, yep, there goes that money toward the car payment. I like to own things. But then again, let's just say you're renting and you just want to lease a car. Well, what's wrong with leasing a car? Just lease a car until you have money to like buy a 10, 15 grand car. So that point is like, black and not black and white, but it's more of It depends. Like it makes more sense to pay a car in cash depending on the type of person you are, but or if you want to have more money billed for you. It all depends. Me personally, I just don't like having a monthly payment at all. Okay. Number 3, owning a house is an investment. No, it's an asset. Remember that. There's a difference. So what I mean by this is that people will tell you that, oh, your house is the biggest investment of your life, your biggest purchase of your life. It's an investment. It's an investment. Oh yeah, is it an ETF, a stock, or a REIT, precious metals, crypto? No, because yes, your house is an asset because real estate prices do go up and sometimes they outpace inflation. Usually, typically they do. But when you buy a house, you pay these monthly costs. You know, there's the mortgage and then the interest of the mortgage. One. Then you're paying homeowners insurance and then you're paying property taxes and anything that breaks, anything that you need to maintain the house, yard utensils, like tools to fix things, pay people to come fix things, like things just break. Houses cost you money, okay? They will make you money over the long run, but you need to live there for 10 to 30 years to really see a substantial, like, oh wow, this I'm doing good. A lot of people think they're house rich when the prices of real estate right now are so overinflated. They'll lose 20 to 30% of their value in the next 5 years or something like that. It could happen. But when you're renting, you don't want to rent your whole life. But if like you're renting like I am right now in this very spacious 1 bedroom apartment, um, you're saving so much money and you can put that into investments that actually grow without you doing anything. They just sit there and they grow. So it's like houses are not investments. They are assets. They're not like cars because cars just depreciate. Real estate goes up, but they're just remember they are not. You will hear this on YouTube and stuff like that. Houses are not an investment; they are an asset. Okay, so that being said, next one, number 4. Metals are not liquid. Don't waste your time on this barbarous relic. Now I wonder why people would say that to you. I have no idea. Of course, I'm gonna make another dedicated precious metal video, but remember this. I'll try to make this one short because I'm not gonna make a whole metal part. But since 1913, the dollar has lost 97% of its purchasing power. A dollar back then is only worth 3 pennies now. What are you going to buy for 3 pennies? If you comment down below what you can buy for 3 pennies, I'll give you 3 pennies. How about that? Um, but the thing is, the same amount of gold and silver can buy the same as it did, like let's just say in the 60s or the 70s, right? Because a silver quarter, a 1964 or prior quarter, you can still go to a coin store, and sell it and buy close to a gallon of gas. Can't do that with a regular quarter these days. You just can't. So metals hold their value over time. They have always been a hedge against inflation, and they're not a barbarous relic because there's a lot of people. There's more people than you think that actually acquire metal because they don't broadcast it and stuff like that. So yeah, so just remember that it's a more sound currency than fiat monopoly fake money. Okay, now time value of money. This is a big one. Time value of money. Doing everything yourself to save money is not always the best option. You can never get your time back. I understand if you don't make a lot of money, if you make $30,000 to $50,000 a year. Yeah, I mean, do things yourself to save you money. But as you grow your money, you can get a little bit of your time back by paying someone else to do something for you. Because like I do some things by myself, but I also pay people to do things for me, so I can be like, yeah, I don't feel like doing it. Now I can go do something I really enjoy. So it's not always the best to do something yourself. Like doing like a few people I know, they're very well off, but they still like refuse to pay anyone to do anything for them, and then they wonder why they don't have more time to do what they really want. It's like it doesn't make any sense. Remember that. Just critically think about that one. Okay, so you're throwing money away when you rent versus owning the house. Not true. You don't want to rent your whole life, but you can invest the difference when you rent. When you own, you have property taxes, homeowners. So this is kind of like the same thing as I said before, is that you're not building equity in a real estate property when you're renting. I get it, but it's like if you go online and you watch these videos on YouTube, there are a few videos out there that have actually debunked this. In the past 2 years, it's actually the past 2 years. What has happened is it is cheaper to rent than to just the mortgage alone on a house. So yeah, invest the difference and grow your money, and then you'll have enough for a down payment in your future. So okay, so next one. Don't keep cash at home. Put everything in one bank. Absolutely wrong. You want to mitigate your risk. You want to have 2 to 3 banks. Spread your assets in different areas. You don't want to have everything at home, but you don't want to have everything in the bank. You don't want to be over reliant on the system. You want to have different currencies outside of the system, and you need to be your own central bank. Being your own central bank, you have the freedom of, like, if the power goes out or if your bank's closed or something happens, like a natural disaster, anything, a cyber attack, anything that could happen. It's good to have some money on hand where not everything is in a bank or digits on a screen. It's just important. I can make a dedicated video about that as well. So remember that. Don't listen to people who think it's just they have their own agenda, right? All right. So next one, cryptos are a scam. They are worth nothing and have not enough benefits to justify owning any. I wonder who would say that. Oh yeah, the people who are heavily invested in stocks, or the governments that find cryptocurrency a threat to their money because crypto is peer to peer. So they're not worthless. Okay, get that out of your head. I'm sorry, they're not worthless. I mean, yes, Bitcoin was at 71,000. Now it's at 64,000. Like a week or two later, and it's been 20,000, 5,000, 20. It's very volatile. It's probably the most drastically volatile asset class there is. But historically, since it was created, it has gone up. If it's 65 now, and then a year from now, it's 30. Yeah, my gimbal just died. Of course it did, right? So, yeah, so it's a new asset class. It's always, you don't want to have a ton of it, but it's always good to have a little bit because you want some exposure. You want to be able to ride that train up, and then just hold for the downs. When it goes down, just buy a little bit more, and then just see what happens. So yeah, they're not a scam. All right. So last one, it's better to just invest in a few ETFs than many different stocks. Not always the case. It depends on your strategy, being more passive or active strategy. Most people will tell you you have to dollar cost average and put $100 a week into the same boring ETF, and your money will grow, and you will be fine. I mean, that works. That works a lot most of the time. But if you're not, like, boring like me, and you like multiple different ETFs and stocks and real estate investment trusts, I don't put $100 every week into my investments. I put money in when I want. I like complete control. I'll put $200 in one week, wait a few weeks, put 400 in, wait a week, put $100 in, stuff like that. And I will, do different dividend stocks, higher yield ETFs, and real estate investment trusts. It's, just having one or two ETFs, even though they are well diversified in all the different sectors of the market and stuff like that, you're missing out on potential stock appreciations from individual stocks. Remember that. All right. So, guys, thanks so much for watching that video and sticking around with me for as long as you have. I really had a good idea, and I really wanted to make that video because there are some myths. So some of these myths are debunked. Some of them are kind of true, kind of not. But I wanted to share that with you so you can make your own assessments. All right, guys, have a great rest of the day. I'll see you next time.